Girlhood has had its ups and its downs, and here's what I've learned so far. 6, 7, 8.
Hi, Mr. President. It is an honor.
Then, after Biden moved on, Montoya standing next to two transgender men who had surgically removed their breasts, all posing topless on the White House lawn. Critics taking to the internet in outrage. The White House then responding, saying the behavior was inappropriate and disrespectful.
Ah, yes, the results are in. This year's Pride Month was an epic show. Pride Month has ended. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. It is over. The battle is over.
Why are you gay?
This was by far the most controversial, shocking, at times toxic, annoying Pride Month I've seen in recent years. We had a trans woman exposing her boobature at the White House. People walking around nude at the Pride parades with cheering in the audience. People kicking down displays at Target. What y'all doing up in Target kicking down them people things? So today I am doing a Pride Month post-mortem, and I'm also going to be sharing some of the concerns I've always had that I now see coming to fruition. Let's go. Usually there are like 1 or 2 moments that occur during Pride Month that you remember the whole month for, but it seems like this past June, every single day there was something happening that just was sending tongues wagging. Companies and corporations got a lot of heat this season for their partnerships and affiliations with the LGBTQIA+ community. You would have had to have been dead or under a rock to not remember what happened with the Bud Light controversy. Bud Light's parent company Anheuser-Busch stock lost nearly $28 billion in market value due to its partnership with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney. The brand had sent personalized beer cans to Dylan Mulvaney to celebrate her 365 days of girlhood and Gyal. The backlash was severe. The backlash is still carrying on today. You have a lot of bars that are still not serving Bud Light. People that were destroying their Bud Light beers. They don't want anything to do with it. And the stock just was tumbling on down the street. Target also found itself in the crosshairs of many protesters, people who were really upset that they chose to have tuck-friendly swimsuits for some of their trans customers who might need a little extra fabric to hide some appendages.
Normalize the bulge. We are normalizing the bulge. Women can have bulges and that's okay.
Now, like I said, I've been going into Target for years, and I see most people who go in there, they'll look at the display, and if they want to buy something, they'll buy it, and if they don't, they just keep it pushing. That's just the way it goes, right? That's the way of the world. This year, some people just felt so emboldened, like they were so upset that they had to start pulling things down. No. Target said that there were some customers who had come in and caused a bit of a ruckus, and they had thrown down displays and were harassing their staff members. And so what Target did was they took that display, and those displays always look really good, I must say. They took those displays and they put them in the back of the store in the corner. And I thought that was just the wrong move to make. Target should have taken those customers who came in there causing a ruckus and thrown them out of the store. That's what you do when somebody comes in and creates a disturbance like that. If you have a problem with a store carrying a certain item that you don't subscribe to, then don't buy that item or don't support that store. That is your right, and I support your right to do that. But to come in and throw down displays, no. Security should have been on their backsides to remove them from the store. So I think a lot of people in the community, they said that they were really disappointed with the response from Target. And I totally understand that, because I just felt like they just caved really quickly and were like, okay, let's just be quiet and let's just put it to the back of the store. That just goes to show you don't really have a solid commitment to the community when you do things like that. You should have stood up to those individuals who came in and created issues. But that's what happens when you have a lot of companies who are chasing these rainbow dollars. Also in June, we saw California pushing legislation that would have compelled parents to provide their children with gender-affirming care. So parents who are embroiled in custody battle, for example, could be liable for child abuse if they don't affirm their child's gender. That, of course, upset a lot of people, particularly, of course, the parents who want say in their children's lives. And I totally get it. So this was another one of those things that just caused a big ruckus during Pride Month. Then back in May, which was just like a month before Pride Month started, You had the LA Dodgers giving a group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence their Community Hero Award. And Catholics protested, saying that the Dodgers were celebrating a group that basically demonstrates anti-Catholic bigotry.
Hey everybody, it's Bishop Barron. I'm sure by now you've all heard about this controversy involving the LA Dodgers and the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. You know, the Dodgers invited this group, which I think can only be described as an anti-Catholic hate group. Invited them to be honored at the Dodger Stadium. Then when there was a howl of protest from Catholics and others, they disinvited them, good move. But then they re-invited them, and the re-invitation was accompanied by a kind of pathetic apology where they were praised for all the great work that they do. I think it was on Easter Sunday, there was a display where they have Jesus on the cross, so the most sacred moment in history for Catholics. And a drag queen comes in and kind of pulls Jesus off the cross, then does a sort of pole dance on the cross. For Catholics, it's hard to imagine anything more offensive than that. Suppose this group had dressed up in a kind of simulacrum of a rabbi and had done something deeply disrespectful to the Torah, or take it a step further, had dressed up in a mockery of a Muslim cleric or imam, and then had desecrated the Quran. What would the reaction be?
For those of you who have not heard about the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, one of the lines that they often espouse is, "Go forth and sin some more," which naturally is going to, piss off a few people, especially Christians and Catholics who understood where they were taking that line from. That's from Jesus saying, go forth and sin no more. So people were rightly upset by the things that were being said by that group. And it just, again, created a back and forth. And a lot of companies are being caught in the middle of this battle. I remember reading that even LGBTQIA plus creatives, and many of you know who they are, a lot of them often get these rainbow dollars from companies who want to sponsor their content, whether on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or on their blogs. That typically, the month of June, they could basically count on that money coming from companies. But this year, a lot of those companies, they pull back and they were not sponsoring a lot of influencers, just because I feel they kind of felt, how things were shaping up and it just wasn't looking good, and they didn't want to put that money behind them for that. So you had a lot of content creators who were speaking about the fact that they weren't getting any money. One of the things I noticed this Pride Month is that there were a lot of LGBTQIA plus folks in the community who were really upset that a lot of companies weren't standing by them. That a lot of companies were not standing by them, weren't speaking out loudly enough. They were disappointed, for example, in Bud Light's response to the backlash. And I was just like, I don't know why y'all are surprised. I don't know why y'all are surprised. Let me start by saying this. I like having friends, right? But I want a friend who wants to be my friend. I want a friend who wants to be my friend. And what do I mean by that? I don't want you to be my friend because I bully you to be my friend or because I coerce you to be my friend. Because when you do that, there is no love there. There is no foundation there. And when tough times come, deal, you're gone. I gone. So I say all that to say this. For those people who couldn't understand why a lot of corporations and companies were not standing by the LGBTQIA plus community, it's because the friendship was not founded on truth. It was founded on bullying. It was founded on coercion. It was founded on guilt tripping, right? I remember a time when people would, and they still do it to this day, but I remember like 5 years ago, people would be going on social media and tagging a lot of these companies and calling them out and saying, why don't you have trans influencers? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? And companies, of course, now they're starting to get this heat. They're like, oh, shoots, we better go get a trans influencer, or we better go get a gay influencer, or we better go, or we better include this person in our ad. It should have happened organically, or it should have happened through conversation, civil conversation, right? But because their hands were forced, they didn't want the backlash. They immediately just jumped and just got someone. And so that's why when tough times came, they went running. Okay. I remember one time Rihanna has Fenty Beauty, and people were pushing her because they were saying, oh, she's, you know, she's so inclusive, which her brand really is. And they were like, why don't you have a trans person? And Rihanna responded like, yo, listen, I will get a trans girl when I choose to get a trans girl, not because you're pushing me, because I hate when companies just kind of jump on this bandwagon to get people just to get people. And I was like, way to go, Caribbean Gyal. That's how you do it. Because I hate when brands do that. But we cause the problems when we push brands to do things on our time. We feel like this should happen today. We feel you should have this trans person today. We feel you should have this bisexual person today. And rather than it being an organic thing like, oh, I found an influencer who is just aligns with my values or aligns with my brand's goals, and this is who I want. So when you create that friendship, that fake friendship out of guilt tripping, when tough times come, gone. I honestly do know that there are some companies who genuinely do support the LGBTQIA plus community. That, I mean, without a doubt, right? They've been there for many, many years, and they love the opportunity to prop them up with the support and the resources that they have. So there's no doubt about that. So there are companies out there like that who wanted to be a part without someone even having to like twist their arm. But I think I'm mostly talking about the companies who were maybe embarrassed publicly, and condemned for not being as diverse as some people might have wanted them to be. And so as a result, they engaged in these partnerships or, you know, these deals, or they felt very compelled to do things that they may not have wanted to do, or it might not have happened in that time, but it would have happened eventually. We also have to remember that there are companies out there who just simply want to sell their wares. They want to sell what it is that they sell, and they don't want to get involved in the politics of any of this stuff. You're a customer, you got money, then I'm selling to you. I remember this woman online would just be publicly embarrassing companies. And let me tell you something, back in the day, I used to get it in online, child. Oh, I used to get it in. 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 And my thing was this. You know, there's a way to talk to a company and say, listen, I would like to see a little bit more representation, or I'd like to see, but the way this woman was going about it was so nasty, negative, toxic. And child, me and I used to go back and forth. I was like, you know what, go run on with yourself. Go talk to yourself, because you just sound so stupid right now. Because that is not the way to go about it when you're trying to get a company to do your bidding, to do your will. You have to be able to talk to people in a rational fashion. That embarrassing people, that gotcha moment, that might work in the moment, but it is not a long-term strategy. People need to be more long-term thinkers with this thing. Yeah, so I was not into the publicly embarrassing people. I ain't into that foolishness. And I just feel like that's part of the reason why we're in this position we're in right now. So all that being said, my question for today is, and I'm genuinely concerned, and I want you all to help me out here. Just give me your thoughts. How do you think this is all going to shape up for the next year's Pride Month? Do you think that there's been like irreparable damage done this Pride season, that next year things will be toned down significantly? Did any of you even go to Pride parades this year? But do you think things are going to be toned down significantly? Are you interested in even celebrating, or what do you think companies are going to do now? How do you think they're going to respond, basically, you know, given everything that's happened this year, this past June? Do you think a lot of them are going to be like, nah, we can support by giving money, we'll have a little tiny display, but we're not going to go all out? I feel like a lot of companies are just kind of like taking a wait and see approach. A lot of them are being quiet. A lot of them are going to give just to say, you know, hey, we gave or we supported, but it's not going to be as, you know, as robust. I don't know. I think sometimes calm heads prevail, and next year might, you know, it might just be going back to basics and doing what, you know, Pride, getting back to the basis and the basics of what Pride Month was supposed to be about. But let me know what you guys think down below, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram and Facebook at This Bahamian Gyal, and of course on my blog oh, why am I still WW it up? Why? On my blog, thisbahamiangyal.com. I don't know. I'm so old school with this damn www. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.